Hi guys, Transit Diaries here. Just a quick review of my 36 volt cordless Makita circular saw. Now just give you the model number, which is DHS710, if that's any help. So let's start off first of all with the pros. Well, Makita are generally market leaders when it comes to circular saws. You can see here it's got a lovely magnesium base plate. Now that's always a good sign in a circular saw. Anyone in the industry will know that. Beautiful bevel on it. And now I'm making this review here. This saw is 3 years old, so it has stood up the test of time. Like this, I believe, is the time to be reviewing this equipment, not when you just get it straight out of the box. Beautiful castings on it. Everything out like that is 10 out of 10, and that just shows you how much experience Makita has learned over the years. Now it comes with this little guide rail here, and like a lovely built-in, which doesn't come off because a lot of these are just finicky little things, but that is stationary there. Beautifully done that is. But however, anybody in the industry knows that in theory these things are a great idea. In practice, they don't work so well. It also comes with this Yokama bob here for an extractor for on here, so you can plug a Hoover straight into it if dust is an issue. Usually I'm using it outside, so that doesn't become you know, much of an issue for me, and it has been exposed to rain and all the rest of it, so it has withstood all this very well. Like, it's very robust. Now, any issues, any criticisms I have? Well, let's first of all start with the batteries. I bought because you're going to have to. That's one thing with this saw. No good buying just 2 batteries with this saw. You can do it, but for all practical intents purposes, it's next to useless at that point. You need to go to buy 4 batteries. And even when you do, there's a bit of a learning curve when you do. Makita do supply these 2 little indicators, so when one battery gets exhausted, the light comes on. Now rarely, if you charge up both batteries, do both batteries get exhausted at the same rate for whatever reason. I don't know. Ask some physics professor why that happens. But so a light comes on one, and you say, oh well, I'll just change that one battery, and problem solved. So that battery, you change that one battery, you rip down one more sheet, apply, and suddenly you find out this one's exhausted. So you might be on top of a roof and you've run down twice just to change both batteries. So my advice to you is buy 4 batteries and a double gang charger for this, so you can charge both batteries at the same time. So once one light comes on with one, save yourself the hassle, take both batteries out, charge both of them, and just put 2 refresh batteries in it. So you're talking about quite an outlay there. By the time you buy 4 of these batteries and a double gang charger, you would have bought about 2 of these cordlesses on their own, cordless saws on their own. So it's quite an outlay. However, if you're like me and you use cordless Makita equipment, then you can use them batteries in other ways, so it's not such a big outlay in that regard. I went for the 3 amps. You have the choice between 3, 4 and 5 amp. I would advise you to get the 5 amps. But that's one of the major issues I have with it. It does not have an LED. Just bear that in mind. Also, I might be splitting hairs here now, but it does have an electronic brake. You can see it there, it has that electronic brake. And I find this a bit odd, because if you buy this as a corded saw, it doesn't have an electronic brake. And remember now, it takes a lot of pixies just to slow that blade down, as well as to power it in the first place. And you have a finite set of power in your battery pack, whereas a corded saw has an infinite amount of power, and it doesn't have this. So I find it a bit odd that they put it on the cordless equipment and they don't put it on the corded. Anyway, that's just again, I'm splitting hairs. One other issue, maybe not really to do with the saw directly, because these boxes are not generic to this saw. They come with every other bit of Makita equipment. And I'll just ask you a question. Come break time on a building site, you have a mug of coffee in an empty room in your house, in the room you're working in. What does that look like at break time? You've guessed it. It looks like a stool, or sometimes people stand on it to gain access to a certain area. Now, if I went to somebody's house for dinner and they didn't have enough chairs, I wouldn't sit in their microwave, and I'm constantly shouting at people, you know, don't stand in that box, don't sit on it. Because as you can see, it's starting to break here now. But I don't mind, because they're all socialists on the box. It must have been them that designed the under face of this box. Like, Makita could have shown a bit of foresight and beefed up that area. They should have seen that coming. Slight criticisms anyway there. But all in all, I would give the saw an 8 out of 10. 3 years later, still going fine. Batteries are still good after 3 years later. Hope you liked that. Please like and subscribe if you did.